Hello and welcome to the IBA's weekly bulletin of information for the radio and television trade. Today we take another dip into our technical postbag with questions about satellite receivers, NICAM, television systems and the Q-dot. On the radio front, trade tests have now started from a new franchise for the Yeovil Taunton area, and another incremental station is now on the air in Haringey, London Greek Radio. In transmitter news, this week's maintenance affecting existing stations, and there's a new television relay at Muddyford in Devon.
But first, your letters, and we start with an incensed Mr. Jim Rate from Seaview in the Isle of Wight.
I was astounded and dumbfounded to have a letter from the BSB people who told me I could not receive the test signals from their satellite. In fact, they went so far as to advise that the equipment I have is useless. I have a Uniden UST 7007 and UST 771 with a polar rotor and a 90cm motorized dish. Whilst I can point it to 31 degrees west, BSB tell me I must buy a new receiver and their so-called square reel. I cannot understand why, with my very good equipment, I will never be able to receive BSB, unless you can tell me otherwise.
This is what happens with free market competition, Mr. Rate. It gives the viewer more choice, but there's no tight control over satellite broadcasting, except for a country's own national channels. The UK's national satellite channels will be from BSB, as the holder of the IBA franchise, and technical standards are laid down. National DBS channels are in a special frequency band, just above the FSS band, currently used by satellite carriers such as Astra. That's why most existing LMBs will not be suitable. In addition, BSB, in common with an increasing number of operators, will use scrambling techniques, and only their own type of receiver will have the necessary chips to decode the signal.
Mr. R.G. Cartledge of Chiselhampton near Oxford poses 3 questions about NICAM digital stereo.
Will I be able to pick up the NICAM signal from London? Will NICAM television sets become obsolete? When DMAC transmissions start? When will DMAC transmissions start?
Well, you may be able to get NICAM from Crystal Palace in the Oxford area if a reasonable picture can be received. NICAM is very robust under difficult reception conditions. NICAM sets will certainly not become obsolete when DMAC starts, because with DMAC we're talking about satellite television, and a separate receiver box is needed for this anyway. DMAC transmissions will be available when BSB begins its programs in the spring.
2 more points on NICAM from MJ Threadgold O'Sullivan of Chorlton near Manchester.
Although preferable, is it really necessary to have a NICAM VCR to record stereo television programs, assuming, of course, that you own a standard hi-fi video and a NICAM stereo television receiver? My second question is virtually the opposite of the first. If one has a NICAM stereo video, but a standard stereo television set, then isn't it possible to receive NICAM stereo programs on the stereo television set by watching the program via the video's channel?
Absolutely right. Those are 2 very good points indeed. A video recorder cannot record the NICAM digital signal direct, but the hi-fi soundtracks on a hi-fi video are so good that you can't really tell the difference between the recorded analog sound and the live decoded sound. This means that you can have the NICAM decoder in the television set or the video, as long as you make the right connections, for example using the multi-wave start.
Unless you're one of those people who enjoy doing things the hard way, make it easy on yourself. Sign a thing called a direct debit. You see, when the new community charge, the poll tax, starts next April, a direct debit means that your bank or building